Section 7.3, Polynomials. This particular video, I want to show you two types of method. There's one that's called the FOIL method, and that's when we are multiplying a binomial times a binomial. We use what's called the FOIL method. To be more precise, we would actually call this another version of the distributive property, but FOIL method is what we like to call it the most. And each one means something. F is for first, O is for outer, I is for inner, L is for last. So let's just go right straight to it. Here I have a binomial times a binomial. I am going to multiply my first terms for both of them. X times x gives me x squared. Now I'm going to multiply my outer terms. X times 6 gives me a plus 6x. Now I'm going to multiply my inner terms, which would be these two, which would give me a plus 5x. And then I'm going to do my last terms, which would be the 5 and the 6, which would give me a plus 30. Now that I have that, it's just a matter of combining like terms. X squared plus 11x plus 30. And I am completely done. All right, the next one, let's do number 2 together. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply my first terms, and that's going to give me a negative 15x squared. I'm going to multiply my last terms, and so I have a negative 3 times a negative 6 will give me a positive 18x. I'm going to multiply my inside terms. That's going to give me a plus 20x. I'm going to now multiply my last terms, and I'm going to get a minus 24. When I do this, I just combine like terms. Negative 15x squared plus 38x minus 24. I am done. Why don't you try numbers 3 and 4 on your own? What you should have got for 3 and 4 were negative 6x squared minus 15x minus 6 and negative 20x squared plus 33x minus 10. All right, now that's basically, you always do this. FOIL method is when you have a binomial times a binomial. Anytime you do it, set them both of them in standard form and multiply it using FOIL method. It will work every time, okay? The next one that we're going to talk about is what I call the table method. Basically, when you're multiplying any other type of polynomial, just use a table method. We could do other types of methods where there's what we call the vertical method. I think that's kind of confusing. If you're curious about what the vertical method is, please come talk to me. I'll kind of walk you through it. But I like the table method because it's just very reminiscent of Punnett squares that you've probably done in science when you've done genetics. So let's just get right straight to it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have this polynomial 3x squared plus 2x plus 1, and I'm going to multiply it by 2x plus 1. And I am going to make a table. I'm going to make sure that all my terms are kind of spread out. So 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. And then I'm going to write on this side, I'm going to go 2x, and then I'm going to put my plus 1 here. And basically what I've done is I've created a table. All right. Now that I've done that, it's just a matter of multiplying each thing. So I'm going to go 2x times 3x squared gives me 6x to the third, because the coefficients 2 times 3 is 6, and x times x squared gives me x to the third. Now I'm going to do the next one. 2 times 2 gives me 4. X times x gives me x squared. 2 times 2 gives that. And 2 times 1 gives me 2x. All right? So since this, and remember that these are positive. All right, let's do the next one. 1 times 3x squared is 3x squared. 1 times 2x is positive 2x. 1 times positive 1 is a positive 1. Now that I have done that, it's a matter of combining like terms. And this is why it's so nice with a table method. The diagonals, these two right here, they're like terms. These two right here are like terms. So the ones that are diagonal are like terms. And now it's just a matter of putting things down. I have 6x to the third plus 4x squared plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 2x plus 1. Combine my like terms, 6x to the third plus 7x squared plus 4x plus 1. I am done. All right, let's do the next one together. But notice in this particular one, as before we go into it, it's got 4x squared plus 3x cubed plus 2x, and this one is 3x plus 2x squared. When working with the table method, the first thing you probably need to do is to rewrite this into standardized form. So meaning that we want to make sure that the polynomial's degree is going from the highest degree to the lowest. So we can rewrite this one as 3x to the third plus 4x squared plus 2x. And this one right here can be rewritten as well as 2x squared plus 3x. Now that we've wrote them both in the standard form, why don't we go ahead and do our table method. 3x to the third power plus 4x squared plus 2x. And then on my side, I'm going to go 2x squared plus 3x. I'll complete my table here. And let's do things out. So 2x squared times 3x cubed. Well, 2 times 2 gives me 6. X squared times x to the third gives me x to the fifth. All right, 2 times 4 gives me 8. X squared times x squared gives me x to the fourth. 2 times 2 is 4. X times x squared is x to the third. All right, 3 times 3 is 9. X times x to the third is x to the fourth. 4 times 3 is 12. X squared times x is x to the third. 2 times 2 is 6. And x times x is x squared. All right, now that we've done that, we're going to combine our like terms. We're going to go 6x to the fifth, and then I have a 9x to the fourth and an 8x to the fourth. Well, when I combine those, that gives me 17x to the fourth. I'm going to combine 12x to the third and 4x, and I'm going to get plus 16x to the third. And then lastly, I have all by myself is the 6x squared, and I am done. All right, I'm going to do this last one with you just to continue with the practice. Let's make sure everything is in standard form. Right off the bat, it isn't. This is an x squared, and then x is at the end. So we need to rewrite this one as negative 5x squared plus x minus 6. That's now in standard form. Let's check the next one. No, it is not in the standard form. So I'm going to go negative 6x to the third plus 3x squared, because that's a positive 3x squared, plus 2x because it's a positive 2x, minus 5. Now that I've done that, we can go ahead and make our table. So I have negative 6x to the third plus 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. I'm going to move on to the side. Negative 5x squared plus x minus 6. Complete my table. Oh, this is going to be a big one. All right. So let's work everything out. Okay, come up here. Negative 5 times negative 6 is a positive 30. X squared times x to the third is an x to the fifth. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. Negative 5 times 2 gives me a negative 10. X squared times x gives me x to the third. Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25, and then I would go x squared at the very end. Next piece. This is going to be, technically there's a 1 here, so 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. X times x to the third is x to the fourth. All right, 1 times that gives me 3. X times x squared is x to the third. 2 times 1 is 2. X times x is x squared. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, and then we would multiply by the x. Continue to go on. Negative 6 times negative 6 is going to be 36 x to the third power. 3 times a negative 6 is a negative 18x squared. 2 times a negative 6 is a negative 12. Continue with my x. Negative 5 times a negative 6 is a positive 30. Phew, that took me a minute. Now that I've done that, I'm going to combine my like terms. So I have 30x to the fifth So I'm done with that. I'm actually going to kind of scratch this out so I don't lose my place because there's a lot of different terms in this one. I'm going to combine my x to the 4th. So I have a negative 6 and a negative 15. That's going to give me a minus 21x to the 4th. So I've done those two. Now we got a big one here. I have an 36x to the 3rd, a 3x to the 3rd, and a negative 10. Well, 36 and 3 make 39. Minus 10 gives me a plus 29x to the 3rd. Let's combine the next one. I have a negative 18 plus 2 and 25. I'm going to actually do that one on the calculator because I don't want to mess that one up. So negative 18 plus 2 plus 25 gives me a 9. So all of these terms when combined is a 9x squared. Then I have a negative 12 minus 5. That's going to give me a negative 17x. And then lastly, I have a positive 30. Wow, this was a massive polynomial. Now, I did this one with you just so you could see it. I don't think you're going to have anything as complicated as this, but in case you do, basically, as you can see, the table method works every time. I can give you multiple polynomials, and this method will work every time as long as you can keep yourself organized and know where things are. And that's it for this video. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.